stay, motherfucker.
Stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned, stay tuned.
Yo,
What's up, man?
what's up, Brody? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm good, bro. Good, man. Happy to be talking to you. You know, you my guy. You my
Nah, man.
guy.
Likewise, man. I'm so glad that I just got to watch your movie, your film. Like what right before I speak to you, I won't even lie, I was a little bit upset that I didn't have more time to start researching more and watch more stuff, but that was heartfelt, that was touching, that was inspiring. I was so proud.
Man, appreciate it, bro.
I went from like proud of you to like shedding tears. Like I was like, man, like you know what I mean? Like what? That's amazing.
Appreciate it, bro.
Thank you for sharing that with me before it was even out yet, man. That was amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I definitely, you are one of the people, not just in the culture, uh, but as you know, like I get close to people. It ain't about rap with me. Like we all have a talent. That's cool, but I'm a people person. You know, I love people. And from day one, you know, definitely with us linking up, I'll never forget at Mass when you were standing there when I was battling XL. You know what I'm saying? Like that was big for me as somebody who I just naturally rocked with. And so I was happy to share that with you, you know, and share a lot of my life. That's what this about.
Hmm. You know, I'm surprised that I won't say okay. I'm surprised that I haven't, you know, gravitated towards you earlier as a friend and a person to lean on and talk to. But I'm glad that we're speaking now, and I
Absolutely.
know that we will maintain a relationship after this. And um, it's great. It's so dope to have you on. I'm sorry I had to go on and off a couple times. I
It's all good.
had this kid in here starting to say shit about me, and it's just like I was recently on a live. And the guy, I don't know who it was, but you know, my mom passed not long ago, and he's like, "Yeah, imagine all the rats crawling up his mother's grave. I wish I could kick his dead mother, down the stairs. Imagine, like, and just going on. And sometimes, you know, right now I can't handle that, man. So I was like,
Right.
I had to block him and come back on.
Yeah. Yeah. And we all human. Like that's what a lot of people got to understand about us. They see what we do on stage a lot of times, and it's like you think we are these characters who get up here who don't have a life, who don't have emotion, you know, who don't have real stuff going on each and every day. So like folks got to be more cognizant of, especially when we are outwardly public about our feelings on things, and and you know, rest in peace to your mother. Like that's not cause for. We're not doing that, you know.
Now, some days, some days I can brush it off. Some days I can't. But
Can't. Right, right, right. I know
how's
that
your
feeling.
son? How's
He
King?
he's amazing. What's funny is, so I moved to Arizona um, about 8 or 9 months ago, and my ex-wife and we are very close. Um, we came to the decision that you know, it's better off he lived with me, and so about 4 days ago, you know, King came down to Arizona. So it's been like, you know what I'm saying? It's like if you a father, you know, as you being a father, you know that feeling. And so I've been, man, it's just been amazing. I have 5 kids. I have 4 girls and King. King is my only boy. Um, and everybody is great. Their mothers are wonderful. We have great relationships. It's just my boy need to be with me right now. You know, and some stuff we just gotta get through. You know, he suffers from, you know, a lot of things as well, just with the divorce and different things going on, and him trying to figure things out. He's so smart, he's so charismatic, he's so loving. So, you know, I got to give him them real life lessons. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's amazing though. He down here with me.
That's a win, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to say win as if it's like saying you won over your, because that's
Right.
whatever, but that's the best thing in the world, man. I'm very,
Absolutely. Absolutely, man.
I seen, I seen him marching with you, man, right in the front. leading the chants, man. I was like, man, this guy got it, man. This guy is man. That was amazing, bro. Like, what a dad you are, man. No,
I
like,
appreciate it.
that kid's gonna, you know what I mean? That's amazing, man. That was awesome. This guy's
Appreciate it.
a leader just like his dad, man.
Yeah, he's an amazing kid, man.
No one, well, I watched it, but these people that are watching haven't seen it. The movie film is called St. Louis Superhero, Superman, and it's so amazing. Can you maybe, like, for the people watching, maybe break it down a little bit?
Yeah. So Smithy Munger, Sammy Khan, they did an amazing job. They approached me. Smithy tracked me down and said, "Hey, I came across a newspaper article. I read a profile on you. I think you're an interesting person. I want to, let's shoot a film." And I was really, I wasn't all for it at first because I was in Ferguson when Michael Brown was killed, and what happened in Ferguson, a lot of media came in and basically tried to exploit, and then just leave, for their stories or whatever. And so I was like, and I never want the activist community. I never want the Ferguson community. I never wanted Mike Brown's family to feel like, hey, he's trying to get famous off whatever this is, right? This notoriety or whatever. And so I was real pushed back at first, and then they assured me that, hey, this is about your community. You're going to tell the story. It's just our job not to mess it up, to hold the camera and put pieces together. And they did an amazing job. The way they edited everything, everything that they had, they put into the film. The film is basically about not just me, though. It's about superheroes in every single city, whether it's St. Louis, whether it's Baltimore, Chicago, Nova Scotia, Toronto, wherever those superheroes that are doing that boots on the ground work, right? That might not get that notoriety, that are going through real things in real life all day, and they persevere past that to get work done. But in the end, they are still human, and they still flawed, and they still have, their mental health issues, and they still have their family issues and community issues. And so it's a real story about just real people doing the work. I just happen to be the subject of this film. You know what I'm saying? And so it's the thing I like most about the film, and not to give it away for the folks who haven't seen it yet, but the thing I like most about the film is not this made up ending where, it's not triumphant in a way, right? It's a gut shot. It's oh, damn, right? We talk about people running for office, but we don't talk about the strain and the stress that goes along with running for office, especially when you're a person of color running in a disenfranchised community and you have minimal resources, right? And that's what I was up against. I've been up against my whole life, but really in politics. And so it's just a story, a real life story. And I think the most amazing part of it is, sorry, not to jump ahead, bro, but I think the most amazing part is I'm a kid from 4300 Gibson, man, south side of St. Louis, right? Been to 200 funerals. Suffer from PTSD, suffer from depression, anxiety, survivor's guilt. Lost my brother when he was 9 years old. I was 6. I just lost my best friend. All these things, right? Steady weighing on you. And a film about me got nominated for an Oscar. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get nominated for an Oscar for playing a great role of somebody else. I got nominated for being myself. We got nominated. These filmmakers got nominated directing and creating a film about a real person, with real issues, that's a real dad, real father, real battle rapper, real. And I think that's the greatest thing about the movie. It encompasses every single part of me, from battle rap to fatherhood to mental health to the politics to just being a family man, and how, me and my mother are really close, as you saw in the film. And so, and when you meet me, you understand that Bruce Franks Jr. and Ooops are the same person. Like they want, you don't get one without the other, whether it's on stage, in the state house, raising my son, or hopping on live to talk about what's real or having fun, whatever it is. This is me all the time.
Bro, you know, I don't know what my favorite part about the film was, but so many. First of all, I loved the clip of the white man. He's like, listen, I'm from the sticks. I'm a hick from here. I won't even lie to you, whatever. But Bruce allowed me to be his friend, and because of that, I won't tell or laugh at certain jokes. I won't allow certain conversations or whatever because Bruce allowed me to become a better man and be his friend. And that was touching. I thought that was awesome.
That's one of my favorite parts of Scott Farn is, I mean, he's a Republican. He has a conservative TV show here in Missouri. And I mean, he's a good dude. Don't get me wrong. I don't get caught up in I'm a different party, but at the end of the day, like, people are people, right? One thing I know is not everybody comes from where I come from, right? People are raised a certain way. Racism and hate, like, that's taught at an early age a lot of times. And it's taught to folks by the people they love most, right? And the way I've been so patient is by thinking of it like my grandmother's she was one of the most amazing women to ever walk the face of this earth, right? And when my grandmother was alive, she gave me a lot of gems. She dropped a lot of, just a lot of knowledge. I wish somebody would come to me and tell me everything that my grandmother taught me was wrong, right? Like, I'll lose my mind.
Right.
And I think about that by those folks who was taught that hate, right? By their grandma and grandpa who may have, provided for them, been there for them all the times they needed, but they taught them hate. And they taught them to hate, and they taught them to hate a certain person. So my approach is always lead with understanding first. Now, if we can't get to an understanding, I'm going to turn up and do what I need to do. But I'm definitely going to say, nah, that's not right, or correct that right, right where it needs to be corrected at. And Scott was one of those people that took a step back and was like, oh shit, you're right. You're right. Nah, that's not cool. That's not okay. When my brother, not my brother, he's like my brother, my best friend, Sylvester, when he was killed in 2018, we had to come up with the money, we had to come together. Me, his mom, my godmother, his brother, all us came together. And Scott, I mean, he called me and said, hey, meet me at a restaurant. I came to a restaurant. He said, look, I pulled this together for you. I know you're going through whatever it is you're going through. Here you go. Right, when my Uncle Stevie died, my favorite uncle, he died as I was running for office. And he's the one who got me hooked on Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart's my favorite artist. And it's because of my Uncle Stevie. And when he passed away, Scott came to the funeral. This was early on. Like, he didn't have a reason to just show up to my uncle's. He knew nobody there, right? And so just little things like that, when you build those type of relationships, like they mean something. They mean something.
Bro, you know how powerful of a person and how good of a person and like the effect you have to have on humans in general when you speak to completely make a full-grown man in his midlife unlearn, maybe not totally unlearn, but everything he may have been taught to be like, no. And at that age, like that's very, very powerful, man. That's an achievement. It's huge. It's huge.
Man, bro, it's communication is our greatest superpower, bro. And we're all good at talking, but very few of us are good at listening to each other. Listening without bias, listening without judgment, listening without, and it's hard. Don't get me wrong, because I'm not trying to excuse. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to excuse bigotry or racism, or white supremacy, none of that. I'm only saying that I take a different route. When it's time to turn up, I'll turn up. Everybody knows that. But when it comes to taking a step back to say, all right, let me listen to this, because I ain't gonna like nothing they say, but let me see if I could get their perspective. Because if I can listen for their perspective, 9 times out of 10, there's an end for me to say, oh, hold on. Here's this caveat, like real quick. Well, I want to tell you a quick story. That's cool. And so, I was having this conversation with a Republican, white Republican. He was conservative. He tells me, he say, hey, listen, I don't know what it's like to be black. I didn't grow up black, grow up in the hood. I don't feel you. I can't feel you. I can't understand it because I'm not black. So you can't just force this on me. I said, oh, I get it. I said, I'm not white. I said, do you have you got kids? He said, yeah. I said, were you there when your kids were born? He said, yeah, I was there. And all my kids were born. I said, cool. I said, was your wife, she went to labor? He said, yeah, she went to labor. It was long, gruesome labor. I said, how gruesome? He said, she was crying, she was yelling, we tried to do it natural, so on and so forth. And I said, was she in pain? He said, yeah. I said, she wasn't in pain, bro. He looked at me. It's like, what are you talking? I was there. She was in pain. I said, she couldn't have been in pain. He said, how the hell are you going to tell me? She was absolutely in pain. I said, well, how do you know she was in pain? He said, I saw her crying. I heard her crying. I saw her tears. I said, that's all we asking you to do is hear our cries. See our tears. That's it. You didn't have to be pregnant to see that she was going through. You didn't have to go through labor to see that she was in pain. You saw it. You felt it. You empathized with it. You sympathized with it. Now, that's all I'm saying is hear my stories of me telling you what it's like to be black in my community. Hear my stories about police brutality. Hear my stories about Kerry Ball Jr., who was killed by the police, shot 25 times, and he was an honor roll student, and he should have been receiving an award from the House of Representatives the day he was getting buried. Right? That's what I need you to hear. It's easy for you to come and say, oh, well, that's a cop-out. That's one of the biggest cop-outs on earth is saying, hey, well, you know what, Pat, because you from Nova Scotia, bro, I can't feel what y'all going through there. I can't, some of the stuff you post, I'm just not from there. Nah, when you make your post, when you make that post about that shooting there and so on and so forth, I felt it. Want to know why? Because I saw the passion. I saw the passion in your words that you typed. I felt the passion in the words that you typed, and that's all too familiar with me. So we can't keep taking these cop-outs saying, oh, well, I'm not black, or I don't see color. I don't want you not to see color. I don't need you now. I need you to see my color. I need you to see my color because once you see my color and understand my color, then you'll understand the plights. You'll understand the challenges and barriers and the things that are disproportionately affecting us. When you push all that to the side and you say, oh, well, I don't see that, I can't be a part of that, then it's like you erasing my whole existence. And some people, it's their goal to do that, right? But for most people, I think they just, that's the comfortable and familiar thing to say to them.
How do I know that you're such a people's person and you talk to people and you're so understanding, and that's how you gain these relationships. How do you talk to people that, like white people that in their head they think there's no racism, that's just all or whatever, that's just all the, because there are people like that. Do you think that they're just too far gone to even get through to, and it's almost a waste of breath because they don't even think it even exists and they think it's just like a whatever? Or do you, like, that must just be so much weight in the show, like not only do you have to deal with, I don't know, like how do you get through to people like that?
So I get through to them by being consistent and not giving up on that first conversation. Because that first conversation will frustrate you. That first conversation will make you just feel like, you know what, this person is too far gone. They say people can't change overnight. I hate hearing that. People change overnight all the time. Michael Brown Jr. was killed on August 9th, 2014. Before that, I wasn't an activist. I didn't consider myself this, Malcolm X or Martin Luther King. I didn't consider myself in any of those realms. I seen gun violence all the time. I seen people get killed by the police all the time. I was rapping about it, in a different manner though.
Mhm.
August 9th, 2014 changed my life. August 8th, 2014, I didn't know what was coming August 9th.
Mhm.
August 8th, I wasn't the person I was August 9th. I went from Bruce Franks, married with 2 businesses, really nice house, nice cars, family's good, little money in my pocket, rapping, doing what I love to do. Life is fantastic in my world. 2014, it come crumbling because I realized, man, I got a 1-year-old son. I got a 1-year-old son that in 15 years, that could be him. That could be me tomorrow. That could be. So when you say people can't change overnight, like I always push back on that, and I take that same thing with those folks who might not necessarily get it right off the bat, because it's not going to take that first conversation. It might not take that fourth conversation. It might take the fifth. And I am naive in a lot of ways. I am really optimistic about changing people, right? Because I've seen it done. I've done it a lot. So who am I not to think that it can't be done every time? And sometimes it can't. That's not going to stop me from trying. Because when I give up on that person that doesn't believe that it's racism and don't believe that they have a particular bias, then I'm giving up on our future, our kids of color particularly. Because that person that I give up on is the one that's going to encounter my son or that young black man at the gas station who's playing his music too loud, right? And don't understand cultural differences, right? Like we had a young man who got killed in Florida at a gas station by an older white guy because he was playing his music too loud, right? Like that could be my son. So I don't have not only can I not give up on them, my friends, my family, my brothers who are white, right? My I don't have allies. I hate saying, "Oh, I got white allies." No, I got family. I don't want allies. I want co-accomplices. If I'm in a fight, I want you in a fight right next to me because that's where I'm gonna be for you. I don't want you 10 steps back, right, holding the camera or tweeting about it. I want you fighting right next to me. And so when my brothers and my sisters and my family members who are white, they can't give up on their family members, those older family members, right, who feel that way because you're going to be able to talk to them in a way that I can't talk to them. There's a certain love there already. And if you're consistent and passionate and it's coming straight from the heart, you'll eventually reach them. We got to have those tough conversations at Thanksgiving dinner, at Christmas, at birthdays, at Memorial Day, and so on and so forth. We have to, because if we don't, we're giving up on our young, especially our children of color who will encounter these folks. These folks are not going to understand, and we're going to be forced to go to more funerals and deal with this, more protesting, more of all these different things when we got to come together and be able to communicate better with each other.
100%, man. And you were right when the communication. A lot of people, they listen, but they don't. They don't comprehend. They just listen to respond and not comprehend. And yeah, like, dude, I'm just so touched by everything in this film, man. Like, I wish that everyone here watched it so they understood. And I don't want to ask you like questions, like cliche questions, but I was want to know if you could explain to the people about the statue of Christopher Harris, man.
Yes. So um, my brother was killed in 1991 on June 7th, 1991. Um, we're back on good. 2 men came out the house arguing. One pulled out a gun as the other one pulled out a gun. The other one picked my brother up. And when the guy who had the gun shot the gun, the other one used my brother as a shield and blocked him from the bullets. And my brother died at 9 years old. My brother was one of the first reasons that America ever did a gun buyback program, which I'm actually not the I'm not the biggest fan of because of the optics. But any way you can remove guns off the streets that don't need to be there, I'm all for. Unfortunately, they just don't remove that many guns off the streets that don't, they don't go get the illegal guns, you know. And so when they did that gun buyback, though, I think it's something like 7,000 guns got turned in. There was an artist, a sculptor, who took these guns, melted them down, and created that statue. So that statue is 1.5 tons of basically melted guns that were decommissioned in the city of St. Louis. And it sits at Cardinal Gun and Children's Hospital in St. Louis, right off Park and Grand. And it's a reminder. I'm going back to St. Louis this weekend because it's Mother's Day. Go visit my mom, so I'm gonna go by the statue and visit. It's just a constant reminder of what we have to keep doing to keep our kids alive. Especially when you come from where I come from, bro. Like, people don't know St. Louis has always been top of murders, top of gun violence. I mean, out of the big cities, we're talking Chicago, New York, Miami, Los Angeles. Like, we've always been at the top because we only have 300,000 people there. But you got 299,000 people, and you're having 200 murders. 200 murders, 217 murders, 188 murders, 188 murders, like back to back to back to back. Like, nah, that doesn't resonate with me now. Right? Before it was like, I've been through all this, I see it, that's our normal. But now I just can't. I have to live my life every day impacting gun violence, impacting what's happening, not just what happens, by the hands of police. That's important to me as well. But impacting what happens in our communities and getting folks to understand that there is a root cause to a problem that we failed to address, that the system has failed to address. Nobody in the hood is, no matter how we want to look at it, nobody in the hood is just waking up in the morning saying, hey, I'm finna go kill 4 or 5 people. Nobody. Like, that's just not, it ain't it, bro. I've been there for 35 years. If you was on a job for 35 years, what they gonna say? You got experience, right? I'm 35 years old and I've been living in the hood. I've been suffering from gun violence. And so it's this root cause of lack of jobs, divestment in our communities. Like, we gotta treat the gun violence that goes on in our Black and brown communities, in our poor communities, as a public health epidemic, because that's what it is. When COVID-19 hit, one of the things that they said a couple weeks ago is there has been no school shootings. That's true, because school is out. Now, if you break down those school shootings, you know where there's still shootings that happen at? Where those Black kids and those brown kids are going back to their communities and they still suffering from gun violence. And we got kids from affluent areas, the Parkland area, right? That was horrible. Every school shooting that happened is absolutely horrible. I don't care whether they was white, Black, brown, tall, short, girl, boy, what, it's horrible. When you talk about Parkland was one of the safest places in America, and they had a school shooting. When those kids went home from Parkland, most of those kids went home from Parkland, they didn't have to go to a community that was ridden with gun violence. But our kids who may not have been subject to a school shooting in the hoods, they're going back to the gun violence that they know, and COVID-19 hasn't stopped it. So it's a public health epidemic. And so, my brother is what drives me to do this work. The legacy and the memory of my brother is what drives me every day. Even when sometimes I ain't taking care of myself, even sometimes when I'm pushing a little too far, it's about Chris, and it's about me not letting Chris's death just be in vain.
Yeah, man, I see how it, that everything has affected you, but made you a certain person that's just such an honorable person. And the things that you do, I watched you say in the MAP interview, y'all were protesting you asked him, how long do you think that went on? And Matthew's like, a week. And you said 400 days.
Days.
Like 400 days. And I seen a small clip, and to be honest, it was really hard for me to watch. And despite the short time of you being like on the ground, being pepper sprayed, and like, you know, you didn't look like you were saying, but you know, you look like you were like, you know, saying something, but it was hard for me to watch. Like, and that was during, you know, can you tell us about? Oh shit! One sec, Kate. One sec.
Salute to everybody tuned in, though. Definitely salute. I've been seeing. Appreciate it, y'all. Definitely salute to everybody tuned in. Salute, salute, salute.
Sorry about that, bro.
Nah, you all good, bro. It's funny because I'm actually at the car lot. So it's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gotta give me some new wheels.
Yeah, no, I saw that clip. Was that during any of those 400 days, or was that way before that? Before you got into the politics, or what?
No, that was during those 400 days, and like to even expound upon that, like it was many nights like that. You know, it was many nights where folks were getting pepper sprayed, tear gas, beaten for what they believe in. A lot of things that people saw happening in Ferguson after the murder of Michael Brown. Imagine where you were, right, in the world. You know what I'm saying? And imagine this flashing across the screen. And imagine days later they're showing protesters, and you know, they're showing people upset, they're showing fires, they're showing all these different things. But everything is a 1 minute or a minute and 30-second blurb of 400 days, of 24 hours in a day, right? They're giving you what they want you to see. They're saying, hey, well, protesters attacked the police because, you know, they start throwing Molotov cocktails. They were saying that when we didn't even know what the hell a Molotov cocktail was. Right? We didn't know that you could whip this stuff up. You know, we just out here fighting for what's right. And most of the media didn't do a good job of portraying that, right? So these are things that it was media out there getting shot with rubber bullets and pepper sprayed and tear gas that would get on right on camera and be like CNN, CNBC, Fox News. Oh, protesters were unruly and police had to respond in this way. And it's like everything that people talks about media, everything that people talk about the system, politics, like a lot of it is true. A lot of it is true. It's misleading, it's misguiding, the system ain't set up for a lot of people to win. Like all these things are true. It's no conspiracy theory, right? And before I was I ain't gonna say conspiracy theorist, but I was one of those people like, nah, this ain't true. Like, you know, this stuff can't be that bad till it happened to me. And now it's like, oh, it's even worse than I thought it was.
You know, that bugs me to even hear, like, you know, just to even picture that, like 400 days, and you're only seeing such small, minute and a half of clips of maybe some of the violence or some of the fighting back. And then there's so many people in the world that are just like, well, they shouldn't be doing this. But it's like, are they pieces of shit for saying that and thinking that, or are they just misinformed and they don't know any better, and that's all they really see? And there's so many. It's just a shame that there's so many people in the world that's all they see, and that be all they know. You know what I mean?
And I think it's a mixture, right? It's those who just don't know.
Yeah.
It's those who know who keep turning a blind eye. right? It's those who've been in power, who know what the changes that need to be made, who know they're the power to make the reforms that need to be made and continue to turn a blind eye to what's going on. Those are the pieces of shit, right? Those are the ones that you hear me, I talk about in my rhymes, or I hop on, Twitter or Instagram and go off a couple of times. Like, no, I'm going to call out the mayors. I'm going to call out the governors. I'm going to call out the Congress people, white, black, Republican, Democrat. If you're wrong, I'm coming for you, right? Because you are in a position of power. You're in a position of power and you have the power to do something. And the reason why so many people are disenfranchised with politics and think that politics is crooked and all these different things is because it is. It is, and y'all have only showed these folks that. I didn't run for office because I believed in the system. I didn't run for office because I believed in what America stands for. I ran for office because I didn't trust either one of them. And who better to represent my people than somebody who grew up in this community, who knows the strife, who knows the challenges and barriers. And if I don't trust you for me, I don't trust you for my people. So I'll take the blows. I'll come into this rigged system. I'll come into this crooked system to represent my people. Yeah, I know they're going to come for me. I know they could possibly take me out. All of that is real. That stuff happens. Like, it's not far-fetched. It's something called COINTELPRO that they've been using before the test of time to take out black leaders. They did it with Martin Luther King. They did it with Malcolm X. They did it with the Black Panthers. They did it with all these folks. And it's this infiltration of organizations, right, to undermine and to demean who those people are. When they can't take you out physically, then they attack your character, right? And that's what was the hardest thing for me about being in office. When they came for my character, when they tried to paint me as this crooked person, this person who wasn't doing the work, I was so upset because it's like, I spent every waking moment doing this work. I've taken pay cuts. I've taken blows to my mental health. I've taken blows to my personal life. I lost everything for politics. I sacrificed everything to represent my people. And the moment y'all are scared of the power that I encompass, scared of the power that I come with these folks who are willing to follow and who are willing to run into a burning building with me, y'all come for me and with no real solutions for my community. Only thing you care about is attacking me to discredit me. That's how politics works. Unfortunately, I wasn't in the mental space to keep dealing with it. It's one of the greatest jobs I had. One of the hardest jobs I had. I got 5 kids. I was making, on paper, $32,000 a year for what they call a part-time job, but I was working 100 hours a week. But that's $32,000 gross. 5 kids, I'm paying child support for a couple of them. All of my kids were on my insurance, plus taxes and everything else. So I took home literally $11,000 a year for 3 years and made it work without doing anything extra, without going to the streets, without hustling, without being crooked, without doing any of these things. Only for y'all to come back and tell me, well, he was doing this and he was doing that. Y'all saying I was doing this, but y'all wasn't there when my lights was off. Y'all wasn't there when I was boiling water so I could wash my face and take a bird bath. Y'all wasn't there when I made sure that I ate crackers for a week because I knew my kids was coming this weekend. I only had $40 to make sure that I could present a good meal for them and make it look like, oh yeah, Daddy, we're gonna go to McDonald's and hit the dollar menu. We're gonna rack up at White Castles and hit the value menu. I made sure that when my kids came over, they didn't see my lights off. They didn't see that I didn't have hot water. They didn't see that I ain't had no food in my refrigerator. But when they left, it was just me there. It was just me and all these people attacking me on all different levels, not understanding, and I'm still out here fighting, still out here trying to pass bills, still out here protesting, still out here showing up to funerals of those kids slain who I mentored, still out here raising money for the funerals for the mothers got to bury their sons and daughters that don't have insurance. Right? Let's talk about that. Talk about the $14 million I put in the summer jobs. Talk about me passing legislation to identify youth violence as a public health epidemic. Talk about me passing a Veterans Bill of Rights so we can ensure that our folks who go fight for a country that ain't never fought for nobody that look like me, when they come back, they got everything that they need. That's the thing that they ain't talking about that. They ain't putting that in the headlines, you know. So they don't know my struggle, man.
Man, with like, I know you got such a big heart, man, and I understand why you would want to, resign, because you're taking on everything, you know, you're getting pennies for it pretty much. It's not worth it, whatever. But you're taking on so much stress, and you have 5 kids, you have your own life, you have your loved ones, like, and you said in the you said in the movie, you said it's because severe anxiety attacks and depression and shit like that. That's something that you still struggle with.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. The one thing about dealing with your mental health issues, especially when it comes to anxiety, is there's no cure, right, for anxiety. It's anxiety is that bad roommate that you just can't get rid of, right? So you learn to cope with that roommate. You learn that, oh, when he goes to work, then that's when I'm gonna relax and sleep, and when he come home, that's when I'm gonna go to work, right? Anxiety is about being able to learn how to maneuver around, um, not necessarily cure, right? Finding your coping mechanism. So even to this day, I'm in a great space though. Don't get me wrong. I've been in the most amazing space I've been in. A lot of days I wake up at 100%. In the last 5 years before I came, I haven't seen 100% in a long time. I'm healthy physically. I weigh 40 more pounds than I weigh, right? I'm working out. I look in the mirror and I'm proud of who I look. I'm buying these small ass shirts just because I like looking at myself, right? Because I like what that look like. So it's like being able to be comfortable. Like, one of the most gratifying feelings is looking in the mirror and recognizing yourself after not recognizing yourself for so long, right? Looking like, damn, that's Earlene's son. That's King dad. That's Brooke, Tajane, Lexi, and Lyric's dad. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what he looked like, and that's where I'm at. But it don't stop, man. The depression is there. I suffer from severe survivor's guilt because I've lost so many people close in age and younger than me. So I have those days where I wake up. It's like, think about our loved ones who we lost. We all, and we'll never forget the day that they passed. That'll always be a day when we wake up in that moment, and that day might not be the best day for us. So imagine going to 200 funerals of people that you love for the past 35 years. You don't forget those days. So out of my 365 days, even though some of those days overlap, half the year is filled with days and memorials I remember in my head of when somebody passed, right? And I know every single one of them. I know every single day. I could tell you who passed today, yesterday. I could tell you that nobody passed on June 10th in my life. Like, I, it's unfortunate that I'm a wizard at some shit like that, right? And that's what I got my PhD in, death. But I feel really good, man. I found some great coping mechanisms. Therapy helped for a while. And when it does get hard, I do lean back on therapy. But for the most part, I've been able to just work out and change my surroundings, change my energy, change the people who I allow in my energy. Bro, what people don't know is I don't battle rap people that I don't like. I don't rap against people that put me in a bad space or bad energy that I just genuinely don't like. Because it takes too much out of me to battle right now, because I'm passionate, I'm emotional. My third round is going to be packed with something, right? So, but I'm not giving that energy to somebody who is already bringing me into a negative light. And that's been therapeutic within itself. That's why every battle I'm done, you see me hug my opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Great job, bro. Even if either one of us didn't do so good, we still here.
Yeah.
We still here. We still in this struggle. So
I see it, man. I've been hearing so much about therapy recently. Like I had the honor to come here and talk to Royce the 592. We talked about therapy for maybe an hour. We talked about therapy. I think like, you know, a lot of people growing up, they're like, ah, that's for, you know, crazy people and all that type of stuff. And like, you know, actually, I got a side question for you, and this will be, and this is an important one that certain people might not ask, but let me ask you something, man. So, you know, Suge, when we battled, he said a line, and I've heard it before 100 times. He said, "See, you white, so you deal with things like depression, anxiety."
I was there. I was in the building.
Do you think lines like that are destructive and might kind of make some brothers in the crowd be like, man, I don't want to, I'm going to feel weak if I try to express myself about that?
Absolutely. And full disclosure, Suge is my cat, right?
Yeah.
Suge my guy. But I absolutely think not only is it damaging, it's very problematic because we as battle rappers, we influence people whether we like it or not, right? We can sit up here and say, I ain't no role model. I ain't no. You don't get millions of views by not being an influencer. You don't have these folks doing TikToks with our battle raps, right? Kids doing TikToks with our battle raps and not be an influencer, right? You are somebody's favorite battle rapper. And they don't just love you because you're Pat Stay the battle rapper. They love you because you Pat Stay. They like everything about you, from the way you dress, your comedy, your realness, your passion. They like everything, right? They like who you are. They watch your skits. They watch everything. You are an influencer, right? Suge is an influencer. And so when I hear things, I cringe. Was that known or lockdown?
I forget. It was the one in Houston there. So
Yeah, that was known. That was known. Because it was hot as hell. I remember. Yeah, it was known. I was there, and I remember I was standing with O, who owns Street Status in St. Louis, Battle Rap League, and I remember cringing, and O was like, "Yeah, you don't really fuck with that one, do you?" I said, "You know I don't." Right? Because it has been this stigma. When I was growing up, it was a stigma. The high school that I went to, I was bused to. It was 90% white. And when I came home, I would always hear stuff like, white people go to therapy. White people go, white people got depression. We strong. We could deal with it. No, we've been saying we strong for too long, and now we don't got no way. We don't have the resources to deal with it. We don't therapy. I remember when my ex-wife, she was like, hey, I think you need therapy. I think, maybe the kids need therapy. How you doing? Maybe the kids need therapy. And I remember saying to myself, I ain't crazy. My kids ain't crazy. They don't need to talk to me. They could talk to me. You know what I'm saying? I was so upset. And now I'm looking back years later like, shit, she was right. Now therapy, the best thing that ever happened to me. But understanding that it might not be a therapist that you need to talk to, right? Like, therapy is great. Sometimes it's just somebody you feel comfortable enough to talk to, because at first I didn't go to therapy. I didn't feel comfortable telling somebody I didn't know what was inside of me and about my emotion. So I found a preacher who, I ain't the biggest, even though I'm a horseman, I ain't the biggest churchgoer. But he was out there with us in Ferguson. He was out there getting pepper spray and ticket. He's somebody I trusted. And I was able to talk to him and confide in him, which made it easier for me to then go to therapy. But yeah, to answer your question, I absolutely think that particular bar, and I think a lot of bars that we hear.
yeah.
I think the bars about mental health are issue. I think bars about the LGBTQ community are issue. I think a lot of these bars that we have, I take issue with a lot of them because it's real people going through real life things and we influencing. So yeah.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I appreciate you shedding light and being informative of that. But and to make sure, I say the worst shit too. So I'm definitely not a person.
Oh, we all have.
I'm
And
definitely not a person to be like so and so. You know, I was just like, um, from your point of view, I think that would. I just wanted to hear that. You know what I mean? Because, you know, I wonder if there'd be people in the crowd or people watching being like, yeah, man, maybe I shouldn't speak on how I feel right now because, you know, it'll make me look like a punk or something or whatever. So
right. No, I think it is. Pride gets in the way.
there's a lot of us too, though. There's a lot of us
Hmm.
like, you know what I mean? The group I grew up with, the way I grew up and stuff like that, it'd be the same shit. It'd be like, yeah, you crazy. You know, it wasn't cool. It was cool to be strong about it and shake it off. Be a man. You know what I mean? Be a fucking man. Suck it up. Deal with it. And that could be pretty damaging. Then you get into other things like addiction and you know
Hmm.
what I mean? And you don't know why you're doing it. You know what I mean? Like the other night, you know, this whole quarantine, man. I haven't even said this ever, but this whole quarantine, I've drank every single night, starting around 5 or 6, and
Hmm.
alcoholism has been a nightmare for me since I was very young. But since I was just drinking casually, I was getting drunk but not twisted. But I was getting things done. I was justifying and being like, man, I'm doing all these interviews. I'm doing good things. I'm not snapping on my girl or other people or being violent or with other people. Or I was like, I'm still being productive. But um, but why am I doing it? You know, and like the other night, my hand went numb and my arms started going numb. I couldn't feel it. Even my fingertips right now are still numb. It's still
Hmm.
tingly, but I started losing feeling in my shit. And I was looking it up. I'm like, what the fuck could this be? And I don't know if it had anything to do with alcoholism, but when I was looking it up, one of the first things were, you know, diabetes, some maybe stroke, but the last one, and this is right, the first thing on Google was excess alcohol abuse.
Mm.
And I started losing the feeling more in my body, and so I logged off. My hand was completely numb. I went upstairs and I lay with my son, and I made him hold my hand, and we went to sleep. You know, as he's holding my hand, and I was scared. I was like, imagine if I don't know if it's alcohol induced. I have no idea, but I don't know. I don't want to spend my last time with my son or my family because I wanted to drink and have fun on here. And then I had to ask myself, why am I drinking every night?
Hmm.
What am I dealing with in my head that I need to drink? Is it the music I'm listening to that puts me in the vibe and was like, yeah, yeah, yeah? Because am I trying to get more loose and comfortable with my, and now when I look back, because I haven't drank last night, tonight, and I probably won't drink anything for another month or so. I might go back and look at my interviews and be embarrassed. Be like, look at you, you drunk slob. Because my girlfriend told me to my face, she said, it's hard to watch when it gets late and it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm all loaded, you know, and I just need to get to the root. I think after this, I will start therapy because I feel like the strongest people I know, and you would be one of them. And now I'm talking to you,
For sure.
watching you, Royce, Math said therapy like completely
Hmm.
opened him up.
Yeah.
So many people are like, yo, this is the best thing that ever happened to me. And it like unleashes a superpower. Charlemagne, you know what I mean? Like these are people
Hmm.
that I look up to. And I might have to do it myself. I just to learn myself, you know what I mean? To figure out why I'm doing these things.
Out, and it will definitely help you figure out what the underlying issue is because not to pull on your heartstrings, but to just keep it real with you, bro. Like a lot of times we think we process loss a certain way, and we're really not processing it the way that we think we're processing it, right? We think we okay sometimes. And then we're doing something subconsciously to kind of cope with that. And then it takes a month or two to like start connecting the dots and be like, oh shit, that's why I was, okay. Oh, that's why I was doing that. I remember my last term in office and after my best friend was killed in 2018, I went into this depression. and everybody knows me. I've never been a drug user or like nobody can really point to me being drunk or belligerent or anything, right? I was drinking every night, bro. I'm talking about Hennessy was, I was going to this little bar who they family, they people I trust, but they drinkers too. So we all drank. And I remember one night coming home, sitting there, and I remember looking, I said this on the math show, not in depth though. I remember looking in front of me and I had a loaded 9mm. I had some pills and I had a bottle of promethazine, a big bottle. And none of this me. Carry my gun for protection, of course. Right? Always been responsible, but I was in this space thinking to myself, like, which option is best? Maybe it's better off that I'm not, like my brother gone. My godson had been killed at 16, been to 200 funerals, while all these people leaving, right? Like these are the things that's playing in my head. And had not the Smriti Mundra, who was the other director in the film, had she not called me, she texted me and said, "Hey, are you okay? What's going on? You all right?" I don't even know what made her text. She was just checking on me. I said, "No, I'm not." She said, "I got something to make you feel better." And she sent me the link to the first draft of the film. And I sat there and watched it and was like, oh shit, I need to be here. Like I got kids. You know what I'm saying? Like I got a bigger purpose. Like it really was this aha moment for me, right? And from that point on, it was like, and I had another scare later on, but it was slight but eventually I got better in that realm. But I remember the days of drinking to the point where if people say that drinking don't impair your thinking or impair your thoughts, man, I don't know what they got going on. Cause it does, but it also brings out a lot of those underlying feelings, bro. A lot of those underlying what's going on. So I am ecstatic and happy and proud of you for even having even having that enough to say, you know what, I think I need, even you thinking you need therapy is a big step, bro.
No, oops, it gives you 1 hour. Will you come right back on? I got to save this before it ends. Will you come right back on?
Absolutely.
Thank you, bro. No, it gives you 1 hour, and the
Yeah.
time was running out. I was like, man, how do I cut in while he's like giving me props and respect? They're like, hey, call you back.
No, it's I'm glad we got off. Well, I did. Look, I ran over there to sign the papers for my car, and I'm dude, like, you okay? I got tears coming down my eyes and shit. I'm like, nah, it's a much needed conversation, dog. That's it. We're good.
No, big time, man. I didn't know you were at the car shop. You were at the shop, man.
Yeah, it all happened. So it like they called this morning and was like, hey, can you come in? I'm like, you know what? Yes, I need to. I need to go ahead and get it done because I just got to. So you work hard. Hey, get what you want. Fuck it. Life's short.
That's right, man. Well, you know what, man? I won't even keep you, but I feel like we're gonna have a conversation again, and I would really like it, and I might even reach out to you like fuck an audience just for someone to talk to because I know.
Any, listen, not to cut you off, bro. Any fucking time, you hear me? I don't care what time zone you in. I don't care what time it is, bro. Just hit me up. I'll inbox you my number. You have my number. Whatever you need to do, text, call, fucking smoke signals, Morse code. I don't care, right? I'm available. Those who are close to me uh, and you know who became brothers through this, no, you know, like Saga is my brother. You know, we lean on each other a lot. You know, all the horsemen. Math called me 3 days ago. He texted me and said, "Bro, you good? He's like, call me, give me a call. I called him. And I'm like thinking, me and Math are really cool. But I'm thinking like maybe he want me on the show, maybe he asked me. See, I was just checking on you, bro. Just make sure you straight. How your son? How you? That's what we need to do. We should be checking on each other, bro. Like it's a lot going on, you know, across this whole world. And we are spread thin a lot of times. You know what I'm saying? We take on a lot. We have one of the hardest professions to stand up there and get lyrically abused and dish out lyrical abuse no matter what we going through, and still have to go back to regular life. So call me anytime, bro. I can't even stress that enough, bro.
I appreciate it, and I know it's real genuine, man.
Absolutely, absolutely, man.
I hope you have a great day, man. I'm so happy for you that you get to go home to King and just kick your son, man. And God bless you, your family, man, all your 4 daughters, and everything you're doing. I told you on Twitter it was an honor to bring you on, and I meant it.
Man, it's an honor to be here, bro.
Thank you so much, man, for coming on.
All right, love you, bro.
I love you too, man. Peace. I had to press X before he did, because if he pressed X first, then I would have lost the whole chat. That's an amazing man. I hope you guys get to watch that shit.